The fires could be seen from space. Another human colony turned to ash and dust. Supreme Commander Dai Wan stood at the window of his ship, watching the orange glow fade against the black void. 17 colonies in 6 months. 17 worlds where humans had lived, worked, raised families. All gone. The Velkrin Dominion had come from beyond known space like a storm. Their ships were faster. Their weapons cut through human shields like they were nothing. Their armor could not be scratched by Earth's best missiles. Every battle had been a massacre. Daywan turned away from the window. His reflection stared back at him from the dark glass. He looked old, tired, the weight of billions of lives pressed on his shoulders. The communication terminal beeped. He already knew what it would say. The alien face filled the screen. Thelraxis, Supreme Commander of the Velkrin Fleet. His skin was pale blue, almost white. His eyes were black and emotionless. When he spoke, the translator made his voice sound cold and mechanical. "Humans of Earth," Thelraxis began, "your resistance is pointless. Your technology is primitive. Your fleets are destroyed. But I am not without mercy." Daywan felt his hands clench into fists. "I offer you a choice," the alien continued. "Surrender 3 of your highest military commanders to me. They will face public execution for their crimes against the Dominion. Do this, and your homeworld will be spared. Refuse, and Earth burns like all the others." The screen showed images then. Human cities in flames, children running, people screaming. "You have 72 hours to decide." The transmission ended. Daywan stood alone in the dark for a long moment. Then he activated his personal communicator. "Emergency meeting. War room, 1 hour. Tell no one else." Deep beneath the city of Geneva, in a bunker that had been built during the last World War, 5 people gathered around a metal table. The room was cold and smelled like concrete and old coffee. Admiral Jiwoo arrived first. She commanded what remained of Earth's orbital defense fleet, 12 ships out of 200. She sat down without speaking, her face hard as stone. General Taemin came next. He led the ground forces. His uniform was dusty from the front lines. He had been fighting on colony worlds when they fell. He had watched good soldiers die. Intelligence Director Hana entered carrying 3 data tablets. She was the youngest person in the room, but also the smartest. If there was information to be found, she would find it. Dr. Youngjae walked in looking nervous. He was a scientist, not a soldier. He worked on experimental weapons in secret labs far from Earth. Most people did not even know his name. The last to arrive was Captain Sujin. She wore black combat armor and carried no weapons, but everyone knew she was the most dangerous person in the room. She had completed missions that officially never happened. Daywan waited until the door was sealed. Then he spoke. "The Velkrin want 3 generals. They want to execute us on live broadcast across the galaxy. They want to break human spirit completely." "So we refuse," Taemin said. His voice was angry. "We fight." "With what?" Jiwoo asked quietly. 12 ships? They have thousands." "Then we run," Taemin said. "Evacuate Earth. Scatter to the edges of space. And let them hunt us down one by one?" Hana shook her head. "They would find us. They always do." Silence fell over the room. Daywan leaned forward. "What if we give them what they want?" Everyone stared at him. "You cannot be serious," Jiwoo said. "I am completely serious," Daywan replied. "We give them 3 generals. We let them have their execution. We let them think they have won." "That is surrender," Taemin said. "No," Daywan said. "That is strategy." He looked at Dr. Youngjae. "Tell them about the virus." The scientist cleared his throat. "For 2 years, we have been developing a cyber weapon, something that can infiltrate Velkrin command networks, but it requires direct access to their flagship's core systems. We could never get close enough to upload it. Until now, Daewon said. They are inviting us aboard their flagship. They want to execute generals in front of the entire galaxy. That means they will bring us to their most secure vessel. Understanding began to dawn on Jiwoo's face. You want to fake the executions. Not fake, Daewon said. We will surrender. We will go to their ship. They will execute 3 people on live broadcast. But those people will not actually die. And while the galaxy watches, we will be inside their flagship uploading the virus. That is insane, Taemin said, but he was smiling. Hana pulled up files on her tablet. We have holographic technology, medical stasis fields. If we can fool their scanners during transport, if we can hide the real bodies in the execution chamber, if we can make the holograms bleed and fall correctly, it is possible, Dr. Young-jae said. Difficult, but possible. Sujin spoke for the first time. I can get the shield frequencies. I have been interrogating captured Velcrin officers. Give me 2 days. Daewon looked around the table. This plan requires volunteers. 3 people willing to go onto an enemy ship. 3 people willing to be executed in front of the entire galaxy, knowing it is a trick, but also knowing that if the trick fails, they die for real. Jiwoo met his eyes. You are volunteering yourself. I am. Who else? Daewon took a breath. I need people the Velcrin will believe. High-ranking officers, heroes even. General Kyung-soo has agreed. He is 70 years old and says he has lived long enough. Commander Bo-ra also volunteered. She is young, but famous across the fleet. 3 people walking into death, Taemin said quietly. 3 people walking into the enemy's heart, Daewon corrected. While they watch us die, we will be planting the weapon that destroys them. Hana was already typing. I will need complete communication blackout. No one can know. Not the Earth Council. Not the other generals. If the Velcrin suspect anything, we all die and Earth burns. Agreed, Daewon said. Jiwoo stood. What do you need from the fleet? Stay hidden, Daewon said. Make them think we are broken, and when I give the signal, be ready to hit them with everything we have left. The meeting lasted 3 more hours. They planned every detail, every backup plan, every contingency. When they finally left the bunker, dawn was breaking over Geneva. Daewon stood outside and watched the sun rise. In 72 hours, the galaxy would watch him die. But the Velcrin had made one critical mistake. They thought humans would surrender. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon was not guns or ships. It was the willingness to do whatever it took to survive. The transport ship was small and cold. Daewon sat in the holding cell with his hands bound. Across from him sat General Kyung-soo and Commander Bo-ra. They did not speak. The Velcrin guards watched them with weapons ready. The old general looked calm. He had fought in 3 wars before the Velcrin came. He had seen worse things than death. Bo-ra was younger, barely 30, but her eyes were steel. She had commanded fleet battles that saved millions. Now she would save billions. Daewon felt the device hidden under his skin. It was so small the Velcrin scanners had missed it. Dr. Young-jae's greatest achievement. When the time came, it would release the chemicals that would put him into a death-like state. His heart would slow, his breathing would stop, the scanners would read him as dead. But he would wake up. If everything went according to plan, the transport docked with the Velcrin flagship. The eclipse of reason was massive. It could hold 50,000 crew members. Its weapons could destroy planets. And somewhere deep inside was the computer core that controlled the entire Velcrin fleet in this sector. Guards pulled them from the transport. Daewon shuffled forward in chains. They walked through corridors of metal and strange blue light. Velcrin soldiers lined the walls, watching the human prisoners with cold eyes. They entered a huge chamber. Daewon's breath caught. The room was enormous, big enough to hold thousands, and it was full. Velcrin officials in elaborate uniforms, dignitaries from conquered worlds, cameras hovering in the air like mechanical insects. In the center of the room stood a platform. On it were 3 pillars with energy restraints, and beyond that, visible through a massive window, was Earth, blue and green and beautiful. Home. Thelraxis stood waiting. The Velcrin commander wore ceremonial armor that gleamed like ice. He smiled when he saw the prisoners. It was not a kind smile. "Humans of Earth," his voice boomed through speakers. "Witness the price of resistance." The broadcast was going out everywhere. Every human settlement, every Velcrin world. Billions were watching. On Earth, Daewon knew, people were gathering in streets and homes. They were crying. They thought they were watching their leaders die. Guards pushed Kyung-soo forward first. They locked him to the first pillar. Energy fields wrapped around his arms and legs. He stood straight, despite his age. Proud. "General Kyung-soo," Thelraxis announced, "commander of the Mars Defense, responsible for the deaths of 4,000 Velcrin soldiers. Your crimes are unforgivable." The old general looked directly at the main camera. He knew Jiwoo was watching. Taemin, Hana, all of them waiting for the signal. "Humanity does not fear the dark," Kyung-soo said clearly. "We were born in it." Thelraxis raised his hand. Energy crackled from his palm. A blade of pure light formed. The crowd went silent. The blade fell. Kyung-soo's body jerked. The holographic overlay that Dr. Young-jae had designed activated perfectly. Blood appeared. The general's eyes closed. His head dropped forward. The sensors read him as dead. The cameras showed a corpse. But deep inside that body, in a state between life and death, Kyung-soo still lived. The stasis field hidden in his bloodstream had activated. He looked dead. He felt dead. But his brain was preserved, his organs protected. Guards released the body and let it fall to the floor. They dragged it to the side. Bo-ra was next. They locked her to the second pillar. She was shaking, but not from fear, from rage, from the knowledge that she had to stand there and pretend to be helpless. "Commander Bo-ra," Thelraxis said, "the youngest fleet commander in human history. Your tactical skills destroyed 17 Velcrin ships. Impressive for a primitive species." Bo-ra looked at the camera. She smiled. "You think you have won. You have not even seen us fight yet." The energy blade came down. Her body spasmed. More blood. More death readings. The crowd of Velcrin officials cheered, but Bo-ra was not dead. The chemicals in her body were working perfectly. She had practiced this 100 times in the lab. Slow your heart. Stop your breathing. Look dead while staying alive. They threw her body next to Kyung-soo's. Now it was Daewon's turn. Guards grabbed him roughly and pushed him to the final pillar. The energy restraints locked around his wrists. He could feel his heart pounding. This was it. Everything depended on the next few minutes. Thelraxis walked closer. His black eyes studied Daewon's face. "Supreme Commander Daewon, leader of all human military forces, you have caused my empire more trouble than any human in history." "Just doing my job," Daewon said. "Your job is over. Your species is broken. After today, Earth will surrender completely. You will become slaves. Your children will serve the Dominion. Your worlds will belong to us." Daewon looked past Thelraxis to the cameras, to Earth, to everyone watching. "The light remembers," he said clearly. "Signal received. Execute." Thelraxis frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means you have already lost. You just do not know it yet." The alien commander's face twisted with anger. He raised the energy blade high. The crowd leaned forward. This was what they came to see. The death of humanity's greatest leader. The blade fell. Pain exploded through Daewon's chest. For a moment, he thought the plan had failed. He thought he was actually dying. But then the chemicals hit his bloodstream. The world went dark. His heart stopped. His lungs froze. But deep in his brain, a tiny part of him remained conscious, aware, waiting. He felt his body fall, heard the crowd cheering, heard Thelraxus declare victory. "The human resistance is over," the Velcrin commander shouted. "Let this be a lesson to all who oppose the Dominion." On Earth, in the bunker beneath Geneva, Admiral Jiwoo watched the broadcast. Tears ran down her face. But they were not tears of sadness. On her tactical display, a small light pulsed green, the signal from Daewon's hidden implant, the code words he had spoken. The light remembers. Signal received. Execute. It meant the chemicals had worked. It meant all 3 generals were in stasis. It meant they were aboard the enemy flagship, hidden among corpses, waiting to wake up. Phase 2, she whispered to Tae-min, who stood beside her. The generals are in position. General Tae-min activated his communicator. All units, begin Operation Lazarus. Move to attack positions. Maintain radio silence. Wait for my signal. Across Earth's solar system, ships began to move. Not the broken vessels the Velcrin thought were all that remained. These were different ships, hidden ships, secret weapons that had been concealed for months. On the eclipse of reason, Thelraxus ordered the bodies removed. Take them to the waste disposal. Let space have them. Guards picked up the 3 corpses. They carried them through the corridors. But they did not go to waste disposal. They went exactly where Dr. Youngjae had calculated they would go. To the medical examination room, where all executed prisoners were scanned one final time to confirm death. In that room, hidden in the bodies that appeared dead, 3 humans waited. The stasis was temporary. In exactly 1 hour, the chemicals would wear off, hearts would restart, lungs would fill with air, and then the real mission would begin. The galaxy thought it had just watched humanity surrender. Thelraxus thought he had won the war. The Velcrin Dominion prepared to celebrate their greatest victory. They were all wrong. The execution was not an ending. It was the beginning. 3 dead generals were about to become 3 very alive saboteurs in the heart of the enemy fleet, and Earth's true strength was about to be revealed. The celebration aboard the Eclipse of Reason was magnificent. Thelraxus had ordered the finest foods from a dozen conquered worlds. Music played through the massive halls. Velcrin officers drank strange glowing liquids and laughed about the weakness of humans. In the grand dining hall, Thelraxus sat at the head of a long table. Dignitaries from across the Dominion raised their glasses to him. He had done what no other commander could do. He had broken humanity. "To the glory of the Dominion!" someone shouted. "To the death of human resistance!" another called. Thelraxus smiled and drank. Victory tasted sweet. Tomorrow his fleet would move into Earth's orbit. The occupation would begin. Humans would learn to bow. Their children would learn Velcrin language. Their worlds would serve the Empire. He had already planned it all. The factories that would be built. The resources that would be extracted. Earth had water, metals, good soil for farming. It would make the Dominion even stronger. "Supreme Commander," his second officer approached. "The fleet is positioned perfectly. Earth's defenses have powered down. Their remaining ships are scattered and hiding. They pose no threat." "Excellent," Thelraxus said. "Maintain position. Let them see us. Let them fear what comes next." What Thelraxus did not know was that fear was not what humans felt. Not anymore. On Earth, people had watched the executions. Yes, there had been tears, but there had also been whispers. Secret messages passed through underground networks, code words hidden in public broadcasts. The light remembers. Those who knew what it meant smiled through their tears. They went to their jobs. They acted defeated. But in basements and hidden rooms, they prepared weapons. They checked old military gear. They waited for the signal that would come. In the bunker beneath Geneva, Intelligence Director Hana worked at her computer. Her fingers moved across holographic displays faster than most people could see. She was monitoring everything: Velcrin communications, their ship positions, their power signatures. "They think it is over," she said to Admiral Jiwoo. "Good," Jiwoo replied. "Overconfidence is a weakness we can use." Deep in the eclipse of reason, in a medical examination room that smelled like chemicals and death, 3 bodies lay on cold metal tables. Velcrin medical staff had scanned them an hour ago. All readings confirmed death. The bodies had been scheduled for disposal, but disposal crews were slow. There were celebrations happening. No one wanted to miss the party to throw away human corpses. The bodies could wait until tomorrow. That mistake would cost them everything. General Kyung-soo felt consciousness return like a wave of ice water. His heart stuttered, then began to beat. His lungs burned as they pulled in air. Every muscle ached. The stasis chemicals were wearing off exactly as Dr. Young-jae had promised. He lay perfectly still, listened. The room was quiet. No guards, no medical staff, just the hum of machines. He opened his eyes slowly. The ceiling above him was metal and blue lights. He turned his head carefully. On the tables next to him, Bo-ra and Dae-won were also beginning to wake. Kyung-soo sat up. His body protested. He was 70 years old and had just been technically dead for an hour. But he had work to do. He reached down to his leg where Dr. Young-jae had hidden a small device under the skin. He pressed it, felt it activate, felt the tiny tools emerge into his palm. Lock picks, a cutting laser no bigger than a pen, a communicator, everything he needed. Bo-ra woke next. She gasped for air, then controlled herself. Training took over. She rolled off the table silently and assessed the room. One door, no windows, security camera in the corner. "The camera," she whispered. Kyung-soo was already moving. He used the laser to cut the camera's power supply. The red light went dark. They had maybe 10 minutes before someone noticed. Dae-won woke last. He sat up and immediately checked his internal communicator. It was working. He could send one short burst transmission to Earth. But not yet. Not until they were in position. "Status?" he whispered. "We are alive. We are inside. No guards nearby," Kyung-soo reported. "Then we move. Kyung-soo, you know your mission. Bo-ra, you have the virus codes?" She tapped the side of her head. "Memorized. Dr. Young-jae made sure of that." "Good. We have approximately 3 hours before they discover we are not corpses. We split up now. If any of us are captured, the mission continues. Understood?" Both nodded. They had known the risks from the beginning. This was a one-way mission. Getting off this ship alive was not part of the plan. Completing the mission was all that mattered. Kyung-soo took a deep breath. His target was the shield generator control room. If he could disable the Eclipse of Reason's shields, Jiwoo's fleet could hurt it, maybe even destroy it. He opened the medical room door carefully. The corridor beyond was empty. Music echoed from somewhere distant. The celebrations were still going. Perfect. He slipped into the corridor like a shadow. 70 years old, but he moved like he was 20. All those decades of training, all those missions. This was what his whole life had been preparing for. Bo-ra went the opposite direction. Her target was deeper in the ship. The primary data core where the fleet command systems connected. That was where she needed to upload Dr. Young-jae's virus. She pulled the medical uniform from one of the lockers and put it on. Not a perfect disguise, but in a ship this large, maybe no one would look too closely. Dae-won had the hardest mission. He needed to reach the bridge, the command center where Thelraxis controlled everything. There he would upload the final kill codes that Captain Soo-jin had extracted from captured Velcrin databases. Codes that would turn the fleet's weapon systems against themselves. He found a ventilation shaft and climbed inside. The metal was cold against his hands. He crawled through the darkness, following the ship's layout that Hana had made him memorize. Below him, the celebrations continued. Velcrin officers toasted their victory. They ate and drank and laughed. They had no idea that 3 dead humans were crawling through their ship like ghosts. On Earth, General Taemin stood in a military command center. Around him, officers monitored displays showing the hidden fleet. Ships waited behind the moon. Others hung in the asteroid belt. Some were disguised as debris from earlier battles. "All ships report ready," an officer said. "Hold position," Taemin ordered. "Wait for Admiral Jiwoo's command." In orbit around Jupiter, a massive ship powered up its engines. The UNS Victory had been the pride of Earth's fleet. Everyone thought it had been destroyed in the first Velcrin attack, but it had been hiding, waiting. Its crew had lived in silence for months. No communications, no external power signatures, playing dead. Captain Sujin stood on its bridge. She had handpicked every member of this crew, soldiers who could keep secrets, warriors who could wait. "Time to target?" she asked. 14 hours at full speed to Earth orbit, her navigator replied. "Then we move in 12 hours, Sujin said. "I want to arrive exactly when Admiral Jiwoo needs us." Back on the Eclipse of Reason, Kyung-soo reached the shield generator room. 2 guards stood outside. He watched them from the shadows. Young Velcrin soldiers, probably bored, probably wanted to be at the celebration. He had one weapon, a small pistol that Dr. Young Jae had built into his artificial hip bone. It held 3 shots, 3 bullets made from materials that would not show up on scanners. He took a breath, aimed, fired twice. Both guards dropped silently. He dragged their bodies into the shadows and entered the shield room. The controls were alien technology, but Hana had taught him well. He found the primary power coupling, set a delayed overload. In 2 hours, the shields would fail for exactly 90 seconds, 90 seconds for Jiwoo's fleet to strike. He hoped it would be enough. Bo-Ra's hands were shaking as she reached the data core room, not from fear. From the effort it took to walk slowly when every instinct screamed at her to run. The medical uniform had worked. 3 Velcrin crew members had passed her in the corridor. None had looked twice. The data core was behind a massive door made of some kind of metal she did not recognize. A security panel glowed beside it. She pulled out the codes that Captain Sujin had died to obtain. No, not died, had sacrificed to obtain. Sujin was still alive, still fighting somewhere. Bo-Ra entered the codes. The panel beeped. Red light, wrong code. Her heart sank. She tried again, checking each number carefully. Red light again. She had one more attempt before the alarm sounded. After that, every guard on the ship would come running. She would be captured, tortured, and the mission would fail. She closed her eyes, remembered her training. Dr. Young Jae had said Velcrin security systems sometimes reversed number sequences. She entered the code backwards. Green light. The door slid open. Bo-Ra slipped inside and the door closed behind her. The room was huge, filled with machines that hummed and glowed. This was the brain of the Eclipse of Reason. Every command that Thel Raxus gave came through here. Every weapon system, every shield, every engine. She pulled the data chip from its hiding place, under her tongue. Dr. Young Jae's masterpiece, the virus that would spread through the entire Velcrin fleet network. She found the main input terminal. Her fingers flew across the alien keyboard, translating the symbols Hana had taught her. Upload initiated. Progress, 1%. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on." The progress bar crawled forward. 2%, 3%. How long before someone noticed the door had been opened? How long before guards came? Across the ship, Daewon pulled himself out of the ventilation shaft and onto a catwalk high above the main corridor. Below him, Velcrin crew members moved back and forth. He could see the bridge entrance from here, 20 meters away, might as well be 20 kilometers. 6 guards stood at the bridge door, all armed, all alert despite the celebrations. Thelraxis was paranoid. Good commanders always were. Daewon checked his communicator. Kyung-soo had sent the signal. Shields would fail in 90 minutes. Bo-Ra had not checked in yet. That meant she was still working. He had to reach that bridge, had to upload the kill codes. But 6 guards, and he was one old man who had been dead an hour ago. He smiled grimly. Then again, he was Supreme Commander Daewon. He had not gotten this job by being careful. He dropped from the catwalk, landed behind 2 guards, broke both their necks before they could shout. The other 4 spun around, raising weapons. Daewon grabbed one's rifle, twisted it, fired. 2 guards down. Return fire hit the wall beside his head. He rolled, came up firing. Another guard fell. The last guard got off a shot. Pain exploded in Daewon's shoulder. He ignored it, fired back. The guard dropped. 6 guards, 6 seconds. Not bad for someone who was supposed to be dead. He staggered to the bridge door. His shoulder was bleeding badly. He could feel his strength fading. No time. He entered Thelraxis's personal override code that Soo-jin had extracted. The door opened. The bridge was full of Velcrin officers. They all turned to stare at the bleeding human standing in the doorway. Thelraxis rose from his command chair. His face went pale. You are dead. I killed you myself. You killed a hologram, Daewon said. He pulled out the data spike. But I am very much alive, and I am here to return the favor. He lunged for the main computer terminal. Velcrin officers shouted. Someone fired a weapon. Pain hit Daewon's leg. He fell, but his hand reached the terminal. He jammed the spike home, uploaded the kill codes. Target all Velcrin ships, he gasped into the computer. Authorization, Omega-77. The computer beeped, accepted the codes. Thelraxis screamed and grabbed Daewon by the throat. What have you done? Daewon smiled through bloody teeth. I won. He pressed the final button on his communicator. The signal burst out, reached Earth in seconds. One word, now. In the bunker beneath Geneva, Admiral Jiwoo heard the signal. She stood up. Every officer in the room looked at her. Execute Operation Lazarus, she said quietly. Show them what humanity really looks like when we fight. Across the solar system, ships powered up. The 12 broken vessels that had been visible suddenly transformed. Their damaged hulls were holograms. Underneath were pristine warships. Weapon systems came online, shields activated. From behind the moon, 50 ships emerged. Cruisers, destroyers, carriers, all hidden for months, all waiting for this moment. From the asteroid belt, 30 more. Mining ships that were really gunships. Freighters that were really missile platforms. And from Jupiter, the UNS Victory. The largest warship humanity had ever built. Its main cannon could crack a moon. Captain Soo-jin sat in the command chair. All ships, she broadcast. The generals have done their part. Now we do ours. For Earth. For every colony we lost. For everyone who died, make the Velcrin pay. The fleet moved. Faster than any Velcrin had seen human ships move. Dr. Youngjae's new engines. Another secret humanity had kept. On the eclipse of reason, alarms started screaming. A Velcrin officer shouted at Thelraxis. Supreme Commander, unknown ships approaching, hundreds of them. Impossible, Thelraxis said. He threw Daewon to the floor. We destroyed their fleet. You destroyed what we wanted you to see, Daewon coughed. Blood ran from his mouth. The real fleet was waiting, and now they are here. In the data core, Bo-Ra's upload hit 100%. The virus activated, spread through the eclipse of reason's systems like fire, jumped to every connected ship in the fleet. Targeting systems went haywire. Velcrin ships suddenly painted other Velcrin ships as enemies. Shield frequencies broadcast on open channels. Engine controls reversed. What is happening? Thelraxis screamed. We are happening, Bo-Ra said from the doorway of the bridge. She limped in, bleeding from a dozen wounds. She had fought her way here. Did you really think we would just give up? We are humans. We do not know how to quit. Kyung-Soo's sabotage triggered. The eclipse of reason's shields failed. For 90 seconds, the flagship was vulnerable. Admiral Ji-woo did not waste those seconds. All ships, target the flagship. Maximum firepower. End this. 100 human ships fired as one. Missiles, railgun rounds, energy weapons. Every weapon humanity had developed, including some the Velkrin did not know existed. The eclipse of reason shuddered. Hull breaches appeared. Fires broke out. The shields came back online, but it was too late. The damage was done. On Earth, General Taemin activated the railgun platforms that humanity had sworn were dismantled. They were not dismantled. They were hidden underground. Massive weapons that could fire from the surface into space. Kinetic rounds screamed out of Earth's atmosphere, hit Velkrin ships at orbital speeds, punched through armor like paper. The Velkrin fleet tried to return fire. But the virus was working. Half their weapons targeted their own ships. The other half fired at random. Coordination collapsed. Their perfect formation became chaos. Captain Soo-jin brought the UNS Victory into the heart of the battle. Its main cannon fired. The shot hit a Velkrin carrier dead center. The ship exploded in a ball of white fire. For the colonies, Soo-jin said softly. On the eclipse of Reason's bridge, Thelraxus stared at his tactical display in horror. His fleet was being destroyed. The primitive humans he had mocked were tearing his ships apart. "How?" he whispered. Daiwan, lying in his own blood, laughed. "You made one mistake. You thought dying was the worst thing that could happen to us. You forgot that some things are worth dying for, and humans will always fight for those things." Another explosion rocked the flagship. The lights flickered. Thelraxus fell to his knees. The battle raged on, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The trap had sprung, and the Velkrin Dominion was learning that humanity's greatest weapon was not technology. It was the refusal to accept defeat, even when kneeling before an executioner's blade. The Battle of Earth lasted 4 hours. When it ended, the space around humanity's homeworld was filled with debris, burning ships, broken metal, bodies floating in the void. Most of them were Velkrin. Admiral Ji-woo stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched the last enemy vessel surrender. Her crew was silent. They had won. After 6 months of losing, after 17 colonies destroyed, after watching billions die, humanity had finally won a battle. "Damage report," she said quietly. 17 ships destroyed, 23 heavily damaged. Casualty estimates still coming in, her tactical officer reported. 17 ships against 300 Velkrin vessels. The numbers should have been impossible, but Dr. Youngjae's virus had worked better than anyone dreamed. The Velkrin fleet had torn itself apart before the humans even arrived. And the eclipse of reason? Crippled. Life support failing. They are requesting permission to evacuate. "Denied," Ji-woo said. "Send boarding teams. I want that ship intact, and I want Thelraxus alive." On the Velkrin flagship, sparks fell from broken ceiling panels. The air smelled like smoke and chemicals. Emergency lights cast everything in red. Dae-won lay against a wall, barely conscious. His shoulder and leg were bleeding badly. Bora sat beside him, pressing medical foam into his wounds. "You look terrible," she said. "You look worse," he replied with a weak smile. She did. Burns covered half her face. 3 broken ribs, a leg that would not bend right. But she was alive. They were both alive. Kyung-soo appeared from the corridor, supporting himself on the wall. He had aged 10 years in 4 hours, but he was grinning. "The shields are completely down. Our people are coming aboard." "Did we win?" Dae-won asked. "We won," Kyung-soo confirmed. The Velcrin fleet is destroyed. The ones that survived are surrendering. Earth is safe. Daewon closed his eyes. They had done it. The impossible mission. The insane plan. It had actually worked. Human Marines burst onto the bridge. They secured the area quickly, found Thelraxis hiding under his command console. The Velcrin commander did not resist. He just stared at the humans with empty eyes. "You were supposed to be primitive," he said. "Your technology was centuries behind ours." "Technology does not win wars," Daewon said as Marines lifted him onto a stretcher. "People do. And you forgot that humans are very, very good at war." They carried the 3 generals to the medical bay. Human doctors worked on them immediately. All 3 would live, would heal, would go home as heroes. 2 days later, Daewon woke up in a hospital on Earth. His shoulder was in a regeneration cast. His leg was wrapped in medical gel. But he was alive and on his homeworld. Ji-woo visited him. She brought real coffee from Geneva. "Thought you might want this." "I love you," he said, taking the cup. "How do you feel?" "Like I was executed and then fought a war," Daewon said. "So, not great, but alive." Ji-woo sat down. "The intelligence director has finished her analysis. The virus infected 17% of the entire Velcrin military network. We have access to their communications, their ship designs, supply routes, everything." "That is good," Daewon said. "It is better than good. We know where their other fleets are, where their colonies are, their military structure. We have effectively crippled the entire Dominion in this sector." Daewon sipped his coffee. "What about Earth? Are we safe?" "For now. The Velcrin are in chaos. They are pulling back their forces to defend their core worlds. They will not attack us again soon. Maybe never." "And the people? How are they taking it?" Ji-woo smiled. "They are celebrating. There are parades in every city. Children are wearing military uniforms. Your face is on every news broadcast. You are the man who died and came back to save humanity. I did not do it alone." "No, but you planned it. You volunteered to die for it. That takes a special kind of courage." Kyung-soo and Bo-ra were in rooms nearby, both recovering, both heroes. The galaxy had watched them be executed. Now the galaxy was watching them give interviews from hospital beds, explaining how humanity had turned defeat into victory. General Tae-min came to visit later that day. He looked tired, but happy. "The railgun platforms worked perfectly. We destroyed 43 ships before they even knew we were firing." "Good," Daewon said. "What about our losses? The colonies?" Tae-min's smile faded. 17 colonies are still gone. Billions still dead. We won the battle. But the war cost us dearly. "Then we make sure those deaths meant something," Daewon said. "We rebuild. We get stronger. We make sure no alien empire ever thinks humans are easy prey again." Intelligence Director Hana visited next. She brought data tablets and reports. "The Earth Council wants a full briefing. They want to know why they were not told about the plan." "Because they would have refused," Daewon said simply. "Politicians think differently than soldiers. They would have seen 3 generals dying and thought only of the loss. We saw it as an opportunity." "They are angry? Let them be angry. We saved Earth. That is what matters." 3 weeks later, Daewon stood in front of the Earth Council. His shoulder was still healing. He walked with a cane, but he stood straight as he explained the entire operation. "You deceived us," one council member said. "You deceived the entire world." "Yes," Daewon agreed. "Because deception was our only weapon. The Velcrin had better ships, better weapons, better everything, except they did not understand humans. They thought we would fight like them, stand in lines, follow rules, be predictable. And instead we lied, we cheated, we pretended to be weak, we made them think they had won, and then we hit them with everything we had." Daewon looked around the room. I will not apologize for that. I would do it again, because 17 colonies are gone. But Earth survives. Billions died, but trillions still live. The council voted. After 6 hours of debate, they decided. No charges would be filed. The operation had been successful. The methods had been necessary. But new rules were established. No more secret operations without council approval. No more hidden fleets. Transparency in all military matters. Day One accepted the rules, but he also knew that when the next threat came, humans would do whatever it took to survive. That was what they did. That was what made them human. Captain Sujin was promoted to admiral. She took command of the rebuilt Earth Defense Fleet. Her first order was to retrieve the bodies from the destroyed colonies. Bring them home. Honor them. Dr. Youngjae was given unlimited funding. He started developing new weapons, new defenses, new ways to keep Earth safe. Thelraxis was put on trial. He was found guilty of war crimes, the destruction of 17 colonies, the deaths of billions. He was sentenced to life in prison. He would spend the rest of his days in a cell beneath Geneva, watching humans rebuild everything he had tried to destroy. 6 months after the battle, a monument was built in Geneva. It listed the names of every person who died in the Velkrine War. 17 billion names. It would take a person 300 years to read them all. At the base of the monument were 3 statues. General Kyung-soo, Commander Bo-ra, Supreme Commander Dai-wan. The 3 who had died so humanity could live. Except they had not died. They had just pretended. And that pretending had saved the world. Dae-won stood in front of the monument on the anniversary of the battle. People came to shake his hand. Thank him. Call him a hero. He did not feel like a hero. He felt like a man who had done what needed to be done. Nothing more. Nothing less. Bo-ra found him there. She was fully healed now, back in command of a fleet. Thinking deep thoughts? She asked. Thinking we got lucky, Dae-won said. The plan could have failed. We could have actually died. But we did not. We won. This time. But there are other aliens out there. Other empires. The Velkrine were just the first. There will be others. Then we will deal with them too, Bo-ra said, because that is what humans do. We survive. No matter what. Dae-won nodded. She was right. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. They had spread across the solar system, built colonies on hostile worlds, adapted to everything the universe threw at them. One alien empire would not stop them. Nothing would. That night, Dae-won wrote his final report on the battle. He ended it with the words he had spoken before his fake execution. The light remembers. Humanity remembers. We remember every colony lost, every person who died, every battle we fought. And we will never surrender, never quit, never stop fighting, because we are human. And that means something. It means we endure. It means we survive. It means that even when we are on our knees before an executioner's blade, we are planning our victory. The Velkrine learned this, and any other empire that threatens Earth will learn it too. Humanity does not fear the dark. We were born in it, and we will be here long after our enemies are dust. He sent the report, turned off his computer, looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Velkrine Dominion was licking its wounds. Other aliens were watching Earth, wondering, calculating. Let them watch, Dae-won thought. Let them see what happens when you underestimate humans. Let them see what happens when you think killing 3 generals will break us. Let them see that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons or our ships. It is our refusal to accept defeat, even when death itself comes calling. The light remembers, and humanity endures.